Same man, please
Sir, if possible, remove the person. If possible, just throw him out. Or disturbing the class.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think we started the live stream and the recording as well. So um all right. So in our last class we paused at revenue synergy. So today we'll proceed from there where we'll be talking about the cost synergy, which is also, this is the ability of the entity to be able to combine operations and eliminate duplicate functions or activity. So we already explained what synergy is, which is the value that is created from the combination or let me say from the coming together of two businesses to form one. So having done that, now we mentioned that okay, there are various ways by which synergy can arise into a business entity, which I talked about the revenue synergy, where we explained the various ways by which synergy can arise from revenue. So now we're talking about the cost synergy. So cost synergy now, this is the ability of the company to be able to reduce or minimize their activities and still maintain their standard. So now when we talk about eliminating duplicate activities now, for instance, we used to have Access Bank, we used to have Diamond Bank. They came together to become Access Bank. That is more there was acquisition. They acquired Diamond Bank, so they absorbed all of their activities into Access Bank. However, everything Access Bank does is still what they do, and everything Diamond Bank does is still what they do. That is when it comes to do with their functions and the activities they do within the banking system. They both are in the banking system. However, they operate separately before. Now they have to combine the activities together. So combining those activities together in order to eliminate duplicate functions. For instance, now we have the tellers in Access Bank. We also have tellers in Diamond Bank. So when they come together, it becomes um, only one department for the tellers now. So they merge their activities together in order to ensure that there's cost reduction and they still maintain their standard of operation. So now I further explain that when other functions, supply chain, distribution, channels, and other operational areas are consolidated and redefined. Now, when we look at their function, just like I explained, what they do together now, when they combine everything together, their supply chain, for instance, this buy from this they buy from this. So at the end of the day, they combine into one. Maybe one has a supplier within the confine of the business environment now, while the other does not. So they can take advantage of the first business. They can take advantage of the business that has their suppliers within their confine to ensure that they get those items. However, reducing their cost at that point. So there are several ways by which cost synergy can arise. Now, I mentioned we have economies of scale. That is one. We have reduced redundant functions. For instance, now we have it would reduce redundancy. Now, redundant functions in the sense that one organization has a particular department, the other organization also has that same department operating on the same level. Let me use that word. So having understood, having combined the businesses together, now it will help reduce redundant functions because there's possibility that one department is performing more than the other in their separate businesses. So when they bring them together now, competition comes in where they need to select the best hands. So as a result of that, the redundancy, the redundant ones that are actually not doing anything, they can be able to reduce the number of staffs or reduce the number of functions. Maybe they have to do this, they have to do this, they have to do this. So they'll be able to share those activities amongst each other for them to be able to meet up with their timing, for them to be able to meet up with deadline. Say for instance now, in company A, they have 3 persons in the department. In company B, they have 2 persons in the department. So it is not easy for the 3 person to handle over 1 million customers. The other business as well, they have 2. It is not easy for them to handle the activities of that business at that level. So when they combine together now, it is easy for them to ensure that redundant function, everything they are doing is in line with what they need to achieve. So everybody now there is going to be a breakdown of what everybody has to do. So this one takes this part, so they will be able to meet up with deadline and therefore reducing redundant function. So that is one of the benefits or that is one of the ways by which cost synergy can arise. Because when they are able to meet up with deadlines, they may not have to, their likely cost that might arise as a result of not meeting up with deadline. It could be legal costs. It could be other operational expenses that businesses might need to incur as a result of the delay in the responses. So all of these things are ways by which cost can be reduced within the confine of acquisition. We also have consolidated facilities. Say for instance now, company A has 2 facilities, company B has only 1. So when they combine their activities together, it is easy for them to shovel their staffs between the businesses, and company A that has 1 will not need to buy another facility. They can make use of their facilities together. They can bring together their assets, because I explained earlier that that merger in acquisition has to do with absorbing. It absorbs all the activities, all the functions, all the operations of the acquired company. It absorbs everything and takes them in as their own activity. So in the process of the acquisition, in the process of acquiring, definitely they would also take charge of all of their assets, all of their liabilities, all of their incomes, all of their expenses as well. They will definitely take charge of those things. So those are benefits derived from cost synergy. We also have operational efficiency. When there is operational efficiency, when there are things that need to be achieved, just like I explained earlier, maybe in company A, they are unable to meet up with deadline. In company B, they are still unable to meet up with deadline. But when they come together and form one, it is easier for them to say, okay, very good. We are now 5. They can now segregate. They can now specialize. Individuals can now specialize in different activities to ensure that, yes, they definitely meet up with deadline. And doing so, they save themselves from avoidable cost. So that is one of the ways by which companies can save cost as a result of mergers or acquisition. We also have rationalization of product line. For instance, now I am producing A, you are producing B. We can bring them together. Maybe in the production of A, I use this particular product, and I have a remnant that I get after the production of A. But that remnant that I have is what you need to produce B, which you would go and source from the market. So since I now have it, and since we have now combined, it is easy for us to be able to, rationalize our product line. We'll be able to reduce cost, we'll be able to cut costs, and at the same time, we'll be able to ensure that, yes, our product line are not less of less of value expected from us. So those are ways by which businesses can save cost through cost synergy. Through synergy, let me use that. Through synergy. Now, I would proceed. We also have financial synergy. Now, financial synergy. Sorry, excuse me, please. Yes. So we also have financial synergy. This is defined as the financial benefit that results from the merger or acquisition of entities. So now we've talked about the revenue synergy, which is the benefits that has to do with revenue, that is increasing their income and their performances. So we talked about the cost synergy, which has to do with cost reduction. Now we want to talk about financial synergy. So financial synergy now has to do with that is financial benefits that the companies will derive as a result of the mergers and acquisition. Then we'll talk about the sources by which financial synergy can arise. We say access to improved capital. So when there is when businesses merge or there is acquisition of entities, it can create access to improved capital. Say for instance, company A is an A-rated business, while company B is not. With the when the both companies combine, that is when they merge or one acquires the other, it is easier for them to access capital, more capital to finance the business. Or it is possible that one company is listed and the other is not listed. We all know that the other that is not listed cannot sell their shares in the stock exchange. However, the listed company can sell their shares in the stock exchange market. So when acquisition or merger arises, now it gives both companies access to the stock exchange market for them to be able to get an improved capital. Now we also have financial stability. Now, what one person can achieve when two persons come together, two productive persons, when they come together, they will be able to achieve more. That is what synergy is all about. So when we talk about financial stability now, the business is in operation. However, what A can do on its own, when they come together, A and B comes together, there is financial stability. That is, they now have access to more. They are now more liquid compared to what they would used to be if they are standing separate. So that is financial stability. We also have diversified risk. Now it helps companies diversify their risk. That is, they'll be able to operate in this sector. They will also be able to operate in this sector and ensure that if sector A is not bringing in income, they can survive with what's coming from sector B. And at the end of the day, they are able to diversify they're able to reduce their risk of loss. So that is that. Then we also have improved cash flow management. So then we talked about cost of capital reduction. So those are the sources by which financial synergy might arise within an organization. Now we'll talk about the reasons for mergers and acquisition. We have talked about what mergers and acquisition is about. We've talked about the types of mergers and acquisition. We've talked about synergy. Now we want to talk about reasons for mergers and acquisition. Why do businesses actually come together? Why do they want to merge? Why do one business want to acquire another business? So, having said that, the first reason that we consider is synergy creation. Now, synergy creation has to do with just like we have explained what synergy is all about. The idea that the combined entity will be more valuable than the sum of its parts. That is, one of the reasons why companies consider merger or acquisition is that they understand the idea is that the combination of the two companies is more valuable than the companies separated. That is, the value of A and the value of B, when they combine the two businesses together, it should give them more than the value of the two parties combined together. That is, for instance, if A is valued at 5 naira, B is valued at 2 naira, at the end of the day, when there is merger or when there is acquisition, they get to create a value that is about 10 naira. That is, there is more value in the combination than the companies operating separately. That is one of the reasons why mergers or acquisition can be considered. Sorry, someone is asking for, sorry, excuse me, please. Okay. Please, whoever is asking for the YouTube link, I've sent it to the class group. So please, let's continue. So, as I was explaining, I've explained the one of the reasons for mergers and acquisition, which is synergy creation. So, second, another reason why mergers and acquisition is considered is strategic growth. Mergers and acquisition can be a faster route to growth than organic expansion, enabling companies to quickly increase their market share, diversifying product line, or enter new markets. So, one of the reasons why companies consider merger or acquisition is that it is probable. Let me use that word. It is probable that the expansion, there is a higher route. It is a faster route to expand the business. And of course, a company that operates one building, when merger arises, they can have up to 5, 6 buildings in their possession. So it gives room for more expansion than when organic growth is considered. I've already explained what are the benefits, what are the disadvantages for mergers and acquisition. So that is strategic growth is one of the reasons for mergers and acquisition. Where diversification, by acquiring a company in a different industry, a business can reduce its exposure to risk associated with its primary market. So now, just like I explained earlier, diversification is one of the reasons why mergers and acquisition arises. When a company can decide that, okay, I work in this industry, but when issues arise in this industry, I can meet up with my operations from another industry, which is, them trying to diversify, trying to spread their risk across several industries, such that if industry A is not productive, industry B will be productive. If industry B is not productive, industry A should be productive. So that is one of the reasons why companies consider mergers and acquisition. We also have economies of scale. Larger operations after a merger or acquisition can lead to cost advantage, such as bulk purchasing or better utilization of resources. So take for instance now, a company of 10 staff that has 3-story building, that definitely the resources are not would not be fully utilized. For a company that has 10 staff, or operates 3-story building for their administrative activities. So we definitely know that that asset, that building, is not fully utilized. But when mergers and acquisition sets in, they will be able to utilize the asset properly, as well as it can also arise as a result of, when company A is buying from supplier B, company B is also buying from supplier B, at different quantity. But when the businesses come together, that is when they merge or when acquisition occurs now, when they buy in bulk, there's every tendency that they get discount for bulk purchase, which is also one of the reasons why businesses can consider mergers and acquisition. Then we also have tax benefit. In some cases, mergers and acquisition can be motivated by the desire to reduce tax liability, for instance, through the use of tax loss carry forward. So, for instance, now, another reason why companies could consider mergers and acquisition is, when they look at one business that, okay, this business has a loss that they are carrying forward, but they have not fully utilized that carried forward loss. Now, company A can decide, okay, let me take advantage of this. Let's acquire or let's merge these businesses. When we merge the businesses together, the tax loss that is being brought from the other company would be used by the merged company or the acquired company to operate, and it would be to their own benefit because they would be able to reduce their taxes accordingly. So these are reasons why companies consider mergers and acquisition. And of course, in our day-to-day activities as well, when we want to marry, truly, some of us will consider that, okay, love first. Some people will consider that, no, this person must be this person must be that. So there's always a reason for an activity. And of course, we all know that mergers and acquisition is just like our marriage life. One person is coming to acquire another person, or both parties are coming to, match their businesses. Now, so having mentioned the reasons for mergers and acquisition, we'll move to the challenges of mergers and acquisition. What are the challenges that companies might face as a result of mergers and acquisition? I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, sir.
And I hope I am communicating.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. This is only one person I can hear from.
Yes, sir.
We are here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Thank you so much.
Just try to mute our mic.
Thank you. That's fine. Thank you very much. So, on that note, let's proceed to the challenges of mergers and acquisition. Now we have explained the reasons why companies consider mergers and acquisition, and of course, mergers and acquisition will not just happen. Mergers and acquisition will not just happen like that, and everything will just be solved. No, companies that the target company, of course, has to retaliate or has to give a reaction, either positive or negative. So now we now want to discuss the challenges of mergers and acquisition. So number one, we talk about the cultural integration. Even in Nigeria today, we still have that issue of indigenous activities that where one is saying I'm a Yoruba person, one is saying I'm an Igbo person. Because I'm a Yoruba person, I don't want to have anything to do with this, which is not helping the society. This is also one of the issues that might be faced in mergers and acquisition. That is, I explained here that differences in corporate culture that can create friction, leading to employee dissatisfaction and reduced productivity. Maybe for instance, in company A, they work from 8 to 6, but company B now, they work from 8 to 4 o'clock. But when the businesses combine, the management now said, oh, because we have combined our activities now, we will now be working from 8 to 5. You know that it is good for some party, why it will be dissatisfactory for some party. because it means that they have to put in 1 hour of their time. That is an extra hour of their time. So which could cause dissatisfaction. And once employees are not satisfied, there's every tendency that their productivity level will definitely reduce. It will definitely drop. So that is one of the challenges of mergers and acquisition. We also have overvaluation. So paying too much for a target company can lead to financial strain and impair future profitability. You know, when businesses tend to overvalue the target company and they pay so much, or they have an agreement that is so much that they have to meet up with. So this can affect further profitability, that is future profitability, because there won't be funds to improve the operations of the business for them to make profit. So that is one of the challenges they might face. We also have the regulatory orders. You know, antitrust laws and other regulation may delay or prevent mergers and acquisition deals. So you have regulatory deals. You will not just say, okay, I've seen this person, I want to acquire. I've seen this person, I want to get married to her, and you just get married to her. No, the standard is that you have to meet with the person's family, the person has to meet with your family. There are several standards that you must meet up with before you can conclude that, okay, yes, you are fully married. The same thing applies in the business, in the mergers and acquisition world as well, because there are regulatory frameworks that you have to abide by. So meeting up with those regulations could lead to delay or could prevent you from mergers and acquisition coming to place. So we also have integration difficulties. So just like it's almost similar to cultural integration, but integration difficulty is more detailed than cultural integration. Cultural integration has to do with the mentality, the ideology, the culture, the corporate world, how the business runs. However, integration difficulty now has to do with, you know, bringing company A into company B and being able to match them together for productivity. It's another thing that, you know, that can be a challenge to mergers and acquisition. That is, we have integrating systems, processes, and workforces can be complex and costly. So I believe that is clear. Then we also have employee retention. The uncertainty that comes with mergers and acquisition can lead to the loss of key talent, affecting the success of the integration process. Of course, we all understand that when mergers and acquisition arises, there's every tendency that some staffs will not be retained, some staff will be rendered jobless, while some will be retained. So the fear of who will be retained, who will not be retained, might make, you know, the best hands decide to resign before the mergers and acquisition is successful, because of the fear of, oh, I might lose my job. So they might want to resign to opt for another job. So during the course of doing that, the business might lose the good hands, and at the end of the day, will be an hindrance to the success of the integration. So I would like at this point now, I would like to ask few questions. If I want two hands or three persons hands up to see, I have 2 to 3 questions to ask. So if you have been following me, please do well to signify. So nobody is responding.
No
I
question for
believe
now,
everyone.
sir. Clear.
We are
Yeah,
with
I'm
you,
not
sir.
going to ask me. I'm not. I don't want you to ask me a question yet.
Yes, sir. No question for now.
I have a question for you. I have a question for you, Mr. Alexander.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for you. Are you ready?
We are with you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you, from what we have discussed tonight now, can you give us two sources? Let me just say two. Yes, of synergy. Yes, two sources of synergy.
I'm sorry. I just entered now. I've been trying to log in. I just
Oh,
log in
okay.
with challenges, merger and
Okay.
acquisition challenges. I
Okay,
just
yeah,
entered now.
okay, yeah, exempted. Oh yeah,
Thank
I
you.
have Eze Esther. Eze Esther, do you have? You want to answer the question?
Let me
Please
try, sir.
go ahead. Sorry, you are not raising your hand. Though. Do you know you are not raising your hand? Uh-huh. Yeah, Mr. Osman, please go ahead.
Okay. We have financial synergy and cost synergy.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Means you are following. So, Mr. Eze has given us at least two sources of mergers and acquisition. So, Mr. Adebanjo Muiwa, Mr. Adebanjo Muiwa,
Yes,
are you
sir.
with us? Aha. So now, Mr. So we have gotten the sources of mergers and acquisition. So I want you to tell us, how can financial synergy arise? Can you give us three, at least three? How can financial synergy arise? We have explained that, okay, we have three major sources of synergy. We have the financial synergy, we have the cost synergy, we have revenue synergy. Now, I want you to tell us two ways by which financial synergy can arise in mergers and acquisition, or two or three.
Okay. Okay. Um, in financial synergy, so we can have the risk in the company can be diversified. Meanwhile, while when a company is acquiring or merging with another company, so they are investing into another company, into another business that is different from what they are actually doing. So by doing that, they are trying to spread risk. One company might be doing better than the other, but when they are merging together, the risk in the business will be reduced. That is, they are spreading the risk that is involved in one business. That is one. And another one is they will have access to improved capital. Yes, when a company is able to acquire another business, and that business has access to, like, to get funds from, maybe from the money market or from the stock market. So by the acquisition of that new entity, they will also gain access through the new acquisition that they are doing, or through merger, to also have access to capital to fund their business. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It means you're actually with us in this class. Thank you very much. So let's proceed, because our time is, let's proceed, because I want us to wrap up with the theoretical aspect, so that in our next class we start to solve questions. So please ensure that when you're coming for the next class, please try as much as possible to get your calculators and your notes beside you. So that's by the way. Thank you very much for those that answered the question. And to those that didn't answer the question, prepare your mind. I can still call you. So now we have talked about the reasons for mergers and acquisition. We have talked about what are the challenges that can be faced in the course of mergers and acquisition. Now we need to talk about the tactics that is adopted in mergers and acquisition. So what are the tactics that companies adopt to ensure or to carry out acquisition or merger between two companies? We have the friendly bid. This is a bid in which the management of both companies write out suitable terms agreed by both companies. Here now, for the friendly merger now, the management of both companies now, they reach an agreement. They reach an agreement. They reach a consensus. They know what they want. They agree that A will do this, B will do this. And after everybody has met their consideration, then mergers and acquisition can proceed to merge the businesses, or they can proceed to acquire the businesses. Please, I hope you guys can hear me.
Yes.
So secondly, okay, thank you. So secondly, we have the hostile bid, which is the opposite of friendly bid. So the hostile bid now, this is a bid where the target company is not willing to accept the takeover, thereby ensuring that the predator company now, yes, that is the company that is trying to buy off or to trying to merge with another business, do not find it easy in the course of doing that. That is the hostile bid. So I explained here that this is a bid where the target company resists takeover, thereby compelling the predator company to persuade the shareholders. Now, just like I explained here, this is a bid where we have, in mergers and acquisition, we have the target and we have the predator. Now, the target company is the company that is about to be merged, or that the company or that the other company is willing to acquire. That is the target company. Well, the predator company is the one that wants to merge, that is proposing the merger, or that is proposing the acquisition of another company. Now, hostile bid, the target company now resists the takeover. That is, they are against the takeover, which will now lead the predator company to persuade the shareholders. We all understand that the management in a business differs from the shareholders. The shareholders are the sole owners of the business, while the management are the agents that are working as a representative of the shareholders. So, having understood this, now then I further explain that management or board of directors of the company do not consent or agree to the acquisition, and the predator company directly approaches the shareholder of the target company. Now, just like I explained earlier, we have separated the shareholders from the management or the board of directors now. So now, the board of directors of the target company, most times they do not give their consent. So as a result of them not giving their consent, they now move to agree, they now move to approach the shareholders, thereby trying to compel them or trying to persuade them, whichever way, for them to be able to support the mergers or the acquisition, whichever one that is being proposed. Now, they could come as a result of trying to purchase their shares, or trying to push the shareholders to sell their shares, or trying to give them a very sweet, interesting offer that would push them to sell their shares. And in doing this, they bypass the target company's management. That is, they bypass the shareholders. They bypass the board of directors or the management team to the shareholders for them to be able to get what they actually want. So the friendly bid now, the predator company and the target company, they reach an agreement. It is friendly. Everybody knows what they want. They already agreed on what they want. That is a friendly bid. However, the hostile bid now is a bid that whereby the target company, the target company's management now, let me use that, the target company's management is not giving their consent to the acquisition or to the merger, thereby forcing the predator company to bypass them to their shareholders, to compel them or to persuade them to support the mergers or to support the acquisition. Now, we have the characteristics of an hostile takeover. Now, lack of cooperation is one of these are signs that you are going to see for you to know that, oh, this type of takeover is hostile. Oh, this type of takeover is not hostile, it is friendly. What are the characteristics you are going to see in an hostile takeover for you to identify that, oh, this takeover or this merger is not a friendly one? We have lack of cooperation, where the management, the predator company, the target company, the shareholders, they are all saying different things. The predator company wants this, the management say no, don't want it. Then the shareholders of the target company also are giving their own offer. So there is lack of cooperation. There is no unity. There is no uniformity there. When you see that, it is an hostile takeover. We also have opposition from target company. Please, James, kindly mute your mic. Thank you. We also have opposition from target company. When you notice that the management team of the target company are insisting that no, or they are working against the merger or the acquisition, you should identify that, oh, this type of merger or this type of acquisition is an hostile one. We also have proxy fights and shareholders activity. Now, when we say proxy fight, that this has to do with the predator company trying to ensure that the merger actually comes to place, and the shareholders activism now, where you see the shareholders fighting their management to say no. Why are you people not supporting? Because the predator companies have bypassed the management to reach the shareholders for them to support or for them to be able to get a higher vote in favor of the takeover. So we also have unsolicited offer. This is just like the predator company giving an offer to the shareholders of the, maybe buying, giving them an offer to buy their shares at a premium. Let me use that word, at a premium that is higher than the current market share, for to entice the shareholders of the target company for them to support the mergers or the acquisition, that is the takeover. We also have legal and regulatory consideration. When you notice that, okay, this company A is saying no, we are going to court, or we try to get a lawyer and all of those things, it means that the agreement is not in favor of both parties. That is, one party is restricting, one party is insisting to say no, we are not interested, we don't want. So all of these are the characteristics that you would see in a mergers and acquisition for you to identify that, oh, this particular form of merger is hostile, it is not friendly. So we have explained that. Then another thing we would be discussing is the instruments used in hostile bid. We have explained what a friendly bid is. We have explained what an hostile bid is. We have also further explained what are the characteristics of an hostile bid. Now we want to look at what are the instruments used in an hostile bid. What are the things that the predator companies adopt for them to carry out the hostile bid activity. We have the proxy fight. This is where a group of shareholders are persuaded by the acquiring company to join in and gather enough shareholders to win a corporate vote to install new management that is open to take over when the company board is adamant. Now, proxy fight now, the predator company tends to go around the shareholders to persuade them into corporate voting. That is, when the shareholders are seated, they say, okay, let us vote if we want to dissolve the old management and get new management team. The reason is that the old management team, probably they are against the takeover. So as a result of them being against the takeover, the acquiring company, now that is the predator company now, will now go to their shareholders, bypassing them to their shareholders to persuade them to vote. While persuading them to vote, they tend to ensure that they get enough shareholders to vote for them to dissolve the existing management board and to install a new management. Now, installing the new management, now they would have reviewed and understand, okay, this particular management is working in their favor. So that is the person they will now suggest to the shareholders for appointment and for their approval. Now, so that is one of the instruments the acquiring company adopts in an hostile bid. We also have tender offer. Tender offer, here the predator company makes a direct offer to the shareholders of the target company to buy a substantial amount or unit of the target company shares at a premium over the prevailing market price. Just like I explained, tender offer is just like the predator company, they won't even go to the management team to say, okay, management, come, this is what we want to offer you. Excuse me, please. So they would just go directly to the shareholder to say, oh, shareholder, we are willing to buy your shares. Maybe the shares at that time is valued at 5 naira. They might propose 8 naira to the shareholders. Of course, shareholders' ideology is that they want to increase their wealth. They want to increase their wealth. So when someone offers them 8 naira compared to the current value of 5 naira, which they will be offered in the market, they will definitely go for the higher value. So by doing this now, they would be able to buy enough shares and at the end of the day take a larger controlling interest of the target company. So that is what a tender offer is. We also have Saturday night special. This is a type of merger where the company, that is the acquiring company now, they buy up, that is before the close of the weekend, that is before the market closes for the weekend, they propose a tender offer. We already know what a tender offer is. So before the market closes for the weekend, they propose a tender offer such that upon opening the market now, the management team or the officers of the target company will just come and realize that, oh, something has happened overnight. So that is a Saturday night special. That this is a situation where, you know, the acquiring company, while the market is about to close for the weekend, they propose a tender offer because at that time the staffs or the officers of the company would not even be aware. They won't even have the mind that, okay, this is going to happen. So they just come upon opening the market and realize that, oh, our shares have been, a larger percentage of our shares has been sold to so company by our shareholders. So this is one of the instruments that is adopted in an hostile bid. We also have the down rate. This is a situation where the bidding company acquires a substantial amount of shares of the target company at a price first thing in the morning when the market opens. Unlike Saturday night special, which they do about the time the market is closing for the weekend. Dawn rate now is now buying the shares of the target company first thing in the morning when the market opens for operation. So before they even settle in for the week or they settle in for the day, they already mobbed up their shares in the market. So with, of course, a tender offer to their shareholder. We also have Godfather offer. This is an irrefutable takeover made to a target company by a predator company. Here now we're talking about Godfather offer. This is the type of offer that the predator company can say, okay, you have maybe a percentage of 10%, but if you allow us to do this takeover or this merger or this acquisition successfully, we would offer you a 30%. Or they say, okay, for every one share, you tend to get 3 shares or 5 shares of the new company. Of course, you that have 1 share, when they give you such offer, you will not be able to refuse. You will not be able to refuse because it is a form of wealth increment. So that these are the tools that is being used in an hostile acquisition or in an hostile takeover. Now, having mentioned the tools they use, of course, for every plan they have, there is always a counter activity from the target company. That is where we have the lack of cooperation. So now, defense strategies against acquisition. I hope you guys can still hear me.
100, sir.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
very much. And we are still very much together.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Yes, sir.
Very well.
Thank you very much. All right. So we have the defense strategies against hostile acquisition. Of course, when you bring whatever it is you are trying to do, I as a person, I will sit back and say, okay, bring your whatever. I am waiting for you. I would also propose a hard or a tough offer that will now lead to back and forth. So on that note, we'll now talk about what are the defense strategies against hostile acquisition. The first one is the instrument, that is what the predator company now uses to acquire the target company. Now, what does the target company now do to fight against the instrument of the predator company now? So we have the pre-offer defense and we have the post-offer defense. When we say pre-offer defense, it means that before the offer is being proposed, what are the things they do? What are the defense strategies they adopt before the offer is being sent? Now we have the poison pill. This gives the shareholders the right to purchase additional shares of the target company at an extremely attractive price. It aims at ensuring that the takeover becomes financially unattractive and difficult for the acquiring company. Of course, a share that is sold for, say, 15 naira, when they now notice that a company is trying to acquire or merge with them in an hostile manner, they can decide to say, okay, shareholders, you have been buying for 15 naira. We want to sell to you at 30 naira. That is share reduction. They have reduced the value of that shares, thereby, which might be, it could be that, okay, the value of the shares of the business is what is enticing the predator company to say they want to acquire the target company. So they beat that price down, making it difficult for the acquiring company and making it look unattractive, because a share value of 15 naira that now drops from 15 naira to, say, 20 naira. That is more than 50% reduction. So it will look unattractive to the predator company, that is poison pill. We also have the white knight. The target company seeks a friendly third-party company willing to acquire the target company and provide a favorable alternative to the hostile acquirer. Poison pill is that they reduce extremely the value of the company to or by issuing shares to the shareholders company at a price that is so ridiculous, so that the company can look unattractive to the predator company. But white knight now, white knight will now say white knight is the activity where the target company, once they get to know that okay, this company is eyeing us, what they now do is that they will get another company, another predator company that is willing to give them a friendly bid rather than an hostile bid, then decide to work with the new predator company that is willing to give them a friendly bid rather than the hostile bid that the predator company is willing to offer. That is the white knight. Now we also have golden parachute. This refers to lucrative compensation packages offered to key executives and management of the target company. This can deter the management from supporting the hostile acquisition and can increase the cost of the acquisition for the acquiring company. So now, golden parachutes now, now, maybe when they notice that, okay, this acquisition is in favor of the management, is in the favor of the management. So they will now say, okay, instead of you selling off this business, what we'll do is that executives and management, okay, maybe the profit sharing ratio we used to do before is 10%. We will now say, no, henceforth, we will no longer do 10%. We will now begin to do 40%. By doing 40%, the acquiring company will look at it that, okay, this is costly across. Maybe the acquiring company only does 5% in their own current operation. When they now do 5% and they now see a company that is doing 40%, so it looks like the acquisition is going to be costly for them. But this is a strategy that the target company adopts to fight against an hostile bid. That is the golden parachute. We also have the Pac-Man defense. Here, the target company turns around the table by launching a counter bid. Here now, what the Pac-Man defense does is that the target company, once they notice that okay, this company is trying to propose an offer to them, instead of them to wait for them to propose that offer, they will do a counter offer. That is, the acquirer now will now become the target. So you want to acquire me, I will now propose. Before you propose, I will now propose to you that okay, I want to acquire your business. So they turn around the table, thereby causing confusion for the acquiring company, the business that is willing to acquire another. We also have litigation. Here, they can consider legal actions to challenge the legitimacy of the hostile acquisition. So that is these are the pre-acquisition offers that the target companies use to fight against the instrument or use to fight against hostile bid. We also have the post offer. For the post offer now, that is after the offer has been made, what are the things they do to defend themselves from an hostile bid? One of the things they do is just reject the offer. Once they send the offer, they say, oh, we are not interested in this offer. Please take away your offer. Thank you very much. They reject. Another thing they can do is asset revaluation. When they revalue their asset, of course, the value of their trial balance increases. The value of their statement of financial position increases such that they will now have to revalue the business again. So it makes it expensive. It makes it costly for the acquiring company for them to consider the target company. They can also do share repurchase. That is, they can decide to buy their shares. That is, they can decide to mop up their shares from their shareholders. Maybe they notice that, oh, some of these shareholders, they are a threat. They can decide to buy their shares from them and, thereby mopping up the number of shareholders, the number of threats that they might have at that time. So to also cause confusion for the acquiring company. We also have appeal with shareholders not to sell shares, promising better prospects. They can also appeal to their shareholders to say, okay, shareholder, don't sell your shares. If you retain your shares in the next financial year, we will declare a dividend that is probably 100% increase of what we used to pay. So by doing that, they can compel the shareholders not to sell their shares with the promising prospect. We also have the crown jewel defense, that is sale of subsidiary or asset, which may be the motivation for the merger. It could be that, okay, there is one asset that they have that every other businesses does not have access to. Because of that, a company can decide that, okay, let us acquire this business. When we acquire this business, we have free access to this asset. Maybe it's one building, we have free access to this building. Maybe it is a subsidiary that is productive. The sell of the subsidiary, thereby thereby frustrating the hostile bid. So at this point, we have been able to explain the theoretical aspects of mergers and acquisition. Now, but before I wrap up the class, let's just explain in brief what I have here. That is the classification of mergers and acquisition. We have the type 1 acquisition, we have the type 2 acquisition, and we have the type 3 acquisition. Now, for the type 1 acquisition, this is an acquisition where the business and financial risk of the acquirer are not affected after the acquisition. Here now, both the business risk and the financial risk of the acquiring business is not affected. It won't change. In essence, it won't change. So that is a type 1 acquisition where the business risk of the acquiring company before the acquisition does not change. At the same time, the financial risk does not also change. That is a type 1 acquisition. A type 2 acquisition, only the financial risk will change. So all of this classification of mergers and acquisition, now this will help us identify when we start solving questions. What type of acquisition is this? Is it a type 1 acquisition? Is it a type 2 acquisition? Is it a type 3 acquisition? We will be able to identify. So for type 2 acquisition now, only the financial risk would change. And for type 3 acquisition, the business and financial risk of the acquiring company would change. The difference is type 1 acquisition, it won't change. Both business risk and financial risk will not change. Type 2 acquisition now, only the financial risk will change. The business risk will remain the same as it used to be. Then for type 3 acquisition now, both the business risk and the financial risk of the acquirer will change. So on this note, I would end the class. That is, this is everything about the theoretical aspect of mergers and acquisition. So for our next class, we will now proceed to discuss, when you see a mergers and acquisition question, what is the first step? What are the steps to take to solve mergers and acquisition questions? Then we begin to solve questions. Just like I promised in the last class, I intend that we solve nothing less than 5 questions on mergers and acquisition, looking at different perspectives, looking at different areas by which I can test questions on mergers and acquisition. So on this note, I want to appreciate each and every one of us for our time. And once again, I apologize for stretching the class till this time. So I'm so sorry. And thank you very much, guys, for staying with me till this time and for paying attention, for your attention. So thank you very much. So within
Thank you so
the
much, sir.
next 10
Thank you,
minutes
sir.
or 15 minutes that we have, if you have any questions from our last class or from this current class, please raise your hands so we can.
Well, sir, I came in late. I'll go through the materials. Then, if there's any question, so sorry, I might send it to your DM. Thank you.
That's very fine. Thank you very much. That's very fine. Please, questions, please.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. You didn't raise your hand, though.
Oh, sorry, I did. Sorry, sir. Okay, sir. I just joined a
Àwọn
stage,
business kan
so
wà
I
tó ti
just
record, mo
joined.
máa ń wò yẹn náà.
Hello,
Ìyẹn máa ń
please
wò
mute
Yes,
your mic.
yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, please. Bye. Who is this
Okay, sir.
person
So
now?
I just joined a stage.
Tó dẹ̀ àwọn tó ń tún ẹni. Wọ́n ti yọrí pé wọ́n ti jẹ́ kí lójú rẹ̀ ń sin mo mọ̀ ọ́ kọ́ ṣe. Ẹ̀sùn tí mo ṣe tí mo mọ̀ ọ́ ṣe.
You are
Sir,
trying.
please, I just want.